I'm being joined right now by two of the main actors from one of the year's most acclaimed films, The Zone of Interest, Christian Friedel and Sandra Hüller. Christian, Sandra, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about this amazing movie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And I say amazing like it's this incredibly uplifting film when it's quite the opposite. It's a movie that stays with you. I saw it at the Cannes Film Festival at its world premiere, and I have not been able to shake it ever since. It made me queasy to my stomach in all the best ways, to where I instantly declared, well, that's one of the greatest films I've ever seen. It has tremendous power behind it. What was it like for both of you when you first got the screenplay from Jonathan? Did it also have that same kind of stomach-turning power to it, if you will?
I think this in the screenplay it wasn't visible what it would be. It was more the artistic choices that Jonathan and his team have made around it that made this film into what it is now. But the first time I realized that it was about this family and this period of time and this place that it's playing in, that turned my stomach literally. I felt really repulsed by it and really sick. And it took me a long time to befriend myself with the idea of being a part of it. And it had to do with Jonathan and the team around him. And of course, with Christian, that I made this choice in the end.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised about the story because I didn't know that the family lives so close to the camp and Daddy goes to work and they build their own paradise there and hear the sounds, smell the air. So this was really surprising. And I was curious. I grew up with Jonathan's work without knowing that this director's name is Jonathan Glazer, but I was curious how is his vision, how he works on that, and how he built this story or this that I was really curious to see that. I was really surprised when I watched the movie for the first time, and I was really surprised about his decision, the post-production work, and that was really, really amazing to see the final film. And when I'm thinking about reading the script at the beginning and then to see the movie, it's amazing. So this way, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real directorial vision. Would you say that the screenplay was a blueprint for all of you to work off of? Because I have heard about the production process of how cameras were placed. You guys went about your daily lives with on the set. But what were those conversations then like in terms of portraying these characters and what the arc of the story would be? What were those conversations with Jonathan like before you got to set?
I think for me, the decision was that it's not a biopic, so therefore not a portrayal of these people. It's a portrayal of the atrocities that take place behind the wall, and about the capability of humans to just forget about that, to go on living their lives with their little meaningless luck in it, while they accept the horror that it costs. So that it would be about us in a way, and that we would have to portray our own blindness and our own longing for convenience or whatever. So it would, that was the uncomfortable thing that we talked about all the time.
And we had a lot of conversations, and we had to postpone the project because of the COVID situation. And we had one more year. I thought that was great because sometimes you need time to dive into the project. And we had a lot of conversations about the script, about the characters, about the energy of the couple. And sometimes we changed the script a little bit together. So, and that was the preparation for our search. So, and then with all the material Jonathan had, he had the possibility to make his decisions how he built this film together, or how, and that was great, because Jonathan was interested in our interpretation, or what we are thinking about this couple, the characters, and some of the particular scenes. So, and sometimes he had the feeling, okay, I have to change the scene after our conversations, and it was really great. So, and he was very transparent from the beginning, and it was an invitation to be a part of the whole process, and that was really great. Yeah.
Very fair, very transparent, and collaborative. Yeah.
And I hear that he let you guys pretty much do, like I said, anything you guys wanted on the set when the cameras were rolling. You guys didn't know where the cameras necessarily were at times. So there is a element of stage theatricality to it where you always have to be on. How long would those takes go before Jonathan would say, okay, cut?
Well, at least 10 minutes. And sometimes he told me 45, but even longer. Wow. As long as this little, the card would work. Yeah. So sometimes we started from the beginning, sometimes even without him saying anything. He just left us in the house, which could feel very uncomfortable and manipulative to be treated like that by a director. It wasn't that case. I can't really explain it. It was the super surveillance that happened all the time, made us aware that he's there and watching all the time. And sometimes it even felt like we were communicating without words. So we started from the beginning doing something different until he would come into the house and say, okay, let's try another way. Or,
Yeah.
I forgot the question.
No, it's the answer.
It's quite right. Actually, this is actually a good time for me to ask you guys, for such a depressing subject and something that's really, it doesn't add levity much to conversations that one would have about these characters. But what did you guys do on set to, I guess, keep the mood light in between takes, if you will? Was there anything going on in between to kind of brighten things up a little bit, or?
No, I didn't feel that was necessary.
Okay.
I wanted necessary to sit with it all the time and be aware of it all the time. It doesn't mean to make yourself suffer from something on purpose. That's not what I mean. It was just, it's something that you can't move away from. It's there. We were literally 100 meters from the original camp. So it's something that you can't just hide from it or anything. We both played cards sometimes, but I don't know if we laughed so much around it. We were just doing something in between. But as I said, or as Christian also described it, we arrived in the morning. We went to makeup to let these
beautiful haircuts
to do this hair, and then we went into the house and we stayed there basically until the shooting day was over. So there was not so much spare time on set that you would have to bridge, like in a normal shooting.
Yeah,
it was really an intense shooting with a lot of tension the whole time, and we stayed in the tension for hours, and it was important. And sometimes I hate the interruption with the break to have a lunch, because sometimes you want to stay there, but sometimes we had finished to lunch and then they changed some camera positions or something for the visual effect things, and then we blocked the next scene for the next day. And that was, but yeah, it was an intense shooting day every day, and every day was different. What Sandra said, sometimes we had 10 minutes scenes, sometimes we had an improvisation for 1.5 hours. Or the first shooting day together, we had this picnic scene at the lake, and that was 2 or 3 hours, and we were sitting there, coming back, going into the water, have a swim, coming back, eating some cookies, and we don't know what's going on, but we are there. We had a picnic as a family, and we had all the time in the world to feel we are together here. And it was, I really enjoyed that, because it was smart to start with this scene together, to knowing, to learning how this process is working. So and I really like that, because in this scene we really don't know where the cameras were. Because
at the same time, it was really different for me. It was a nightmare, because you knew that you were observed, but you didn't know from where. The feeling was so intense. To me, of course, as an actor, you enjoy the possibility, to get to like play together for the first time in this sort of surrounding, because it was a beautiful place. But at the same time, as I said, it's a complete nightmare. It's something that you don't want to experience something like that,
But was there ever a time where you accidentally looked into the camera without realizing that that's where the camera was?
I don't know.
So maybe
it's in the material, but nobody told us. No.
But I think we are trained to ignore some things surround us. When we play theater, we sometimes feel the audience, but
especially when they leave.
Especially when German audience is very special. But when we are in traditional way filmmaking, we have all the technicians. Sometimes they are in our eye line, and then we are trained to ignore that fact that people are surround us, and we are acting like we're alone in a room. And
here we were alone.
Here we were alone in the room, or on a beautiful lake. So, and that was really, I cannot say liked it, but I really grateful about this experience. Yeah,
absolutely. It sounds like you both took it very seriously, and it's very serious subject matter. Given what we've seen all over the world with the rise neo-fascism and even in actual like neo-Nazism. I mean, especially here in the States, in many areas. What is the main like takeaway that you would hope that audiences would get from this material? Because it is a period film, but it also does have, I think, tremendous amount of relevancy to today.
I think Jonathan said at our first meeting, he said he wanted to make a modern movie, not an historical one. And I think this is, for me, his vision. This movie is a movie about human beings, because there were human beings doing terrible things to other human beings. And it repeats, history repeats, unfortunately. Yeah. And it makes me sad that this fact exists. We have the art to think about ourselves, to learn from the past. But humans, the complexity of human being still exists. So, and we have to be aware there's a darkness exists in all of us. And I think this is the movie about this darkness, our choices, our decisions we made. And we live in very difficult political times. We have discussions in Germany again about anti-Semitism. The fascism is growing even in Germany too, in Europe too. And
in the normal political system, it's not some underground thing. They're in government.
And they speak a language we never heard it for a long time. And now it's possible. And it scares me. It makes me sad. And I think this movie is a movie who reminds us what can happen and what people are capable for. And this is, I think, for me, this is the message of this movie. Watch, observe an ordinary, sometimes boring family, but the choices they made, we have to learn about that fact. Yeah.
To me, it tells something about that fascism has never really been gone. When you look at the last scene, when we come back from the memorial scenes, to Hus, and he's just going on his path. He's just moving on. It shows me that it's never really been gone. I think the pain that came from the atrocities that happened in the Holocaust has been very present for a long time, but this pain in people's heads is sort of fading, and they have to be reminded that to prevent something like this happening again, you have to actively stand in the way of it. It is not something that is like some sort of fashion that's coming up and it will go away again. It is something that has to be fought because it is inside human beings. People are looking for very simple solutions for very complicated problems. That's what we do. And we have to be reminded of that it's not simple. It will never be. And this idea of kind of to kill one part of humanity in order to be superior and in order to be the stronger one or the better one or to have a more simple life is something that will never, ever work. But people are again and again trying to tell us that this is the way. So that's what this film reminds of us of, that we have to actively decide and act against fascism. That's
absolutely. Yeah. Well, the film, I think, definitely can be a tool for that. I imagine that this will be shown across schools. I imagine that it will have a very, very long lifespan, and it will hopefully achieve that desired effect. I know it certainly did for all of us to be more consciously aware of this and to take action against that evil that we are actively forever fighting against. Christian, congratulations on the film. Sandra, congratulations also, too, on one hell of a year, by the way. And congratulations to both of you together, along with Jonathan, on this really, really amazing, incredible film, The Zone of Interest. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.